Right.
You know, I mean, they really, that's our first run in the early mid-80s.
She still have it?
Yeah, in her office at BT.
That's awesome.
I want to go with the Tiger Stories. Joe Diane and I put the candy down. My mom.
You know, that she's been here as long as
I still have my email, so that's all that really
Nice.
now. If you don't like to get
still have
Ready to roll?
unless Monday's a holiday,
Come on,
Friday.
up in front, still up in front. Come on, retirement.
You ready? Okay, call this meeting of the Consent County Commission order for Tuesday, November 20th. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me a short prayer here. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom as we make decisions that affect the citizens we represent. We are very thankful this week in a special way for all the freedoms we have. Please protect those who are protecting those freedoms for us and their families. We ask that people who are in need at this time of the year, that you take care of. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the digital video recording from the previous board session of November 13th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes, any adjustments to the agenda, folks?
Just a mention of an event that I was at this weekend and their schedule for the holiday season.
West area?
Yep.
Okay,
Talk about the boiler.
talk about the boiler.
I'll name like an update on the Transportation Improvement District.
On the TID,
Yep. And then, didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about the CT consultant, new contract that we got, if you guys had had a chance to look at it or not.
CT.
If you hadn't, we can wait till next week.
CT consultants, you guys ready to talk about
Let's
that?
talk about it next week. I mean, if we,
Yeah.
Let's put on the agenda for next week.
because we're not sure how that's gonna interplay with downtown
Sure.
and
Good.
from scope.
The first thing I like to do is congratulate the Board of Elections. I saw in the paper today that they finished their count. Unlike many areas, our folks were very efficient, so kudos to that group down there. I think they're very pleased with the amount of room they have now, that things went smoothly. They had almost 4,000 absentee ballots that they took care of, and those were all ready to go by 7:45 according to statute on election night. They couldn't have been any more efficient. I think they were done election night sometime about 10 after 9 or something like that. People in Broward were just kind of waking up at that point. So kudos to those folks. Okay, so Commissioner Stacy, Pastoria, Iron Triangle Visitor Center.
They had the rededication rededication of the ribbon cutting and dedication from 5 years ago on Saturday. But significantly, I wanted to mention that at the Rail Preservation Society building, the old depot, they've got a whole holiday schedule. And it's absolutely beautiful with all the trees and everything in there. And so I just wanted to get that mentioned. Maybe we can get that up on our site, what the hours are for that. But great opportunity to go in and see some couples events going on, but opportunities to visit Santa. So
Okay, perfect. Let's get right to the boiler since it's fresh on our minds.
I did catch John right before he left, because we had paid for some, for the boiler, JFS out of capital improvements. He does have money to do the $5,000 fix in his budget, so if you're okay with that. I don't need to move any, he's got some in there.
Right, that's fine.
yeah.
Okay.
What's your pleasure as far as replacing goes, folks?
Yeah, I mean, I like the plan of replacing for the fall of
Next year.
19.
Okay,
Yeah, given
yeah,
the cost factor of,
all right, so
I think we
I'll
would
consider that a motion in a second.
Well, I can just put it in the budget.
You
Put
did,
it-
okay,
That's-
so you
that's-
just, okay, so we don't need to
Yep, I can
authorize
just
anything.
include it in the capital improvement. It doesn't have to be separate.
Okay, so that's authorized for you.
Yep.
Okay, Transportation Improvement District.
Just wanted to give you a brief update from today's meeting. We have submitted the first reimbursement to ODOT for the city of Tiffin. and we have to submit a second one before the end of the year. And we also decided as the Transportation Improvement District that we reconsidered and amended the success fee. So we had initially came up with $1,000 success fee for anybody who was granted from this point forward. After reviewing what audit costs and potential costs could be, the TID board chose to change that to a 3% of whatever they're awarded. So if you're awarded $250,000, you're looking at over around 7,000 for a success fee. If you're awarded a smaller project and the 3% would be less than 1,000, the minimum is 1,000. So 3% or a minimum of $1,000 success fee. That helps pay for the expenses. And the ultimate goal would be to potentially help build some seed money to help use as match money towards projects as we move forward as well.
The TID is renewable at how much a year?
The TID is set by statute, so the commissioners agreed to form the TID for Seneca County.
Right.
And then we do not have any continuous funding. The county commissioners provided a $5,000 seed fund to that, and that's gonna be enough to maybe, per the auditor, cover audits for the next 3 years, if we're lucky.
Wasn't it 250?
Oh, the ask amount?
Yeah,
Oh, the ask
Apply
amount.
for?
Yeah.
The
How
maximum you can apply is
That
$250,000, that is
continues
correct.
to be the same.
Yes. So that figure's the same. We are working
And the
on.
project you're talking with the city is Fair Lane?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We also are going to work on an application timeline, so we're gonna work backwards from the due date and set dates that communities have to have their pre-applications into the TID for our review, and then have them submitted prior to the application due date, of course. So we're gonna start working on that and putting a policy together. So we just wanted to give you an update so you know what happened at today's meeting.
Holly, did you have some information on CCAO's take of the AG's opinion? Yeah.
Oh, in the general policy, I forget the name of the committee, but one of the committees had, at Friday's board meeting, one of the things they brought forth that we supported, but again, it's just for working on future legislation, was for a review of the Attorney General's opinion on whether a commissioner could or couldn't serve on that board, because there was a multitude of counties impacted, some that had all 3 commissioners on the board. And so basically the board, the CCAO board approved asking for a review of that opinion because they feel it's strong, that a commissioner should be allowed to serve on it. So that's just where the direction the board went.
I felt vindicated.
Did you guys also sit down with the governor-elect at this point? Not that I saw that.
Other than with the, all the policy direction stuff that they prepared and went over with both governor candidates' teams and candidates prior to the election, continuing with that same path, that same
Okay.
list of policy stuff. We reviewed all the policies that'll get voted on by the delegation at conference in 2 weeks. So it will include all of these types of things, such as that, about the review of the AG's opinion, all that is it falling under the different committee reports. So we just confirmed and adopted what they said, and there was a number of them. Like I said, there was a lot of discussion. The whole thing with the jails and the reimbursement with the municipalities, having contracts with them was a major one, and again, that was supported by the board to do that, and so a number of different things. I could circulate some of that around so you guys see it too.
You have another term left on the board, CCAO?
I do not at this point in time unless I seek a presidential appointment.
Okay.
I'm just going to look at possibly the Sevco board. They're in need of folks for that, and so I thought that they do theirs in the spring, so it happens at a different time, so I did not reapply for a board position at this point in time.
Encourage you if you would take the time to do that. I think it's great to have.
But they will do a bunch of presidential appointments right after the election, so,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Mr. President, can we do the budget first?
Sure.
Would you mind?
No. No.
Okay, budgets. I sent you a revised budget, which in the general fund side, I didn't change anything. Non-general fund, means that we're still considering changing some capital improvements. I don't know if you wanted to review any of these, go over any of these, any
Can we
questions,
pa-
any comments?
Can we pass an operating budget without the capital? We've never done capital before, right?
it's always in the, non-general fund budget, but it's usually just the projects that we know are gonna be there. We anticipate, we usually put 100,000 in contingencies, and, I think what I have sitting there right now, see my notes on here. For the RTA, which I had something in there just holding at 70,000, I had a note for painting or sealing, and then carpets,
How much is it?
70.
70?
But that, again, that was including carpets, but we can take that out since that's, you know, continued discussion. We put, I thought I pulled that one out. I had public safety down for the security system, the locks, cameras, fixing the roof, but then again, that we're still doing the south of town kind of master plan, so we can take that out.
Yeah, I hadn't anticipated that we would resolve the capital budget
Okay,
before passing the operating budget.
then I can
so-
pull that one out, and we can,
Yeah. So I just had a couple questions on the actual budget.
general fund,
General fund, yeah.
okay?
The contract services under the auditor, what was that increase for, up to 40,000?
The, since the commissioners disband the data processing board, she was using the data processing line to.
So that's why that line's
Yep.
gone.
Yep, so we put that, was her contract for SSI, so I just moved it up into the auditor's line, so it's not really an increase, she was just paying for it out of the different line.
And then the HDHS under insurance, that
Yes.
60,000 from 86 to 144 was the increased contributions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And, because I thought we were talking this more like 80, so I was surprised it wasn't.
Higher than that?
Yeah.
She,
Yeah.
Tasha at the auditor's office ran some numbers when she actually got the final, tally.
Okay. And then, under Juvie, the youth center, let's see here, what do I have there? No, criminal justice jail.
Criminal justice, say it again?
Criminal justice jail fund?
Under the juvenile center?
No, actually, not under juvenile, under criminal justice, I'm sorry.
Sheriff's.
Sheriff's.
Okay.
There seems to be some kind of disconnect. The salary line is flat, but the PERS goes up 100,000.
And I'll need to check with the sheriff on that because that's how he submitted it.
The PERS going from 349,685 to 442,608, and the salary line stayed flat.
Stayed flat, okay.
So does
I'll
that seem
need
like
to-
there's
yeah.
something amiss there?
Yep. I'll have to pull up his and fix that because either my link didn't work or we'll have to fix that.
And then under miscellaneous, economic development, right now you have in there 17,000 for TCEP, 8,000 for FEDC, and then regional planning.
Yes.
That makes up the entire number, the 70,000.
Yep.
And then what's in the other expenses, remind me again? Sorry.
Miscellaneous, economic development. Other expenses, we pay our property taxes out of. We have our cooperative purchasing contract, our ORC required Humane Society fee, our CMI, which is our workers' comp contract. The COG is under there. Our CLICA membership, which is the Loss Control Coordinators Association, fees are there. And the CCAO, our dues are in there too. So all those are kind of like dues, or that's what's in that, we've got 37,000 in that right now.
Then my only two comments, other than just getting those clarifications, were one, the prosecutor, last year I recognized him as the guardian of the public purse because, what they did with the city and merging their prosecutor functions. We don't have line of sight to see if that's financially viable, but the prosecutor continues to say that the benefits outweigh the negatives, and wants to continue that at that budget amount. So I trust that he knows his business, and even without line of sight of what it's costing us to provide that service to the city, we are getting reimbursed some amount from the city. So I'm going to make the assessment mutually beneficial. And then Judge Meyer has some increases here in the youth center and whatnot. Nothing dramatic on his side, but the youth center has a little bit more of a pop. But again, Judge Meyer, I give a Guardian of the Public Purse Award. When he asked for more money, he did it with real pain in his face. So, his staff, especially Teresa, have worked very hard to minimize the impact of county on the move to the annex, and I really appreciate that. So, even though he has some increases in here on the youth center, completely trust that they've exhausted every other option to save the public money. So,
And he had some significant, delay in really being able to do some salary things, and he's needed to do those.
Yeah.
And that turnover was,
This year, he had a substantial turnover.
was just a killer, so.
Okay, so, this does include 3% increases, okay? Just as an overview, the Budget Commission certified 17.8 million. This budget is 17.41. The biggest number Commissioner Thomas talked about was in the area of PDRS from criminal justice. We need to get an answer on that.
Yeah, I'll need to check on that.
Because from 3.5 to 3.6, looks like that makes sense for him, but that number doesn't belong in that line evidently.
Guess I'll just have to pull his request and see what it was. See if I just got some.
The thing that jumps out there is the fact that 17 salaries were 2,445,000, and that's exactly the same number
Yeah,
for the next year.
that's
So I would assume that part of that money is into that line.
Yeah, because they'd even have it, even with their contract, they had an increase, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only line I need to get.
And Medicare also stays the same.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right to me either, so.
Yeah. And I usually put formulas in, and sometimes the formulas get adjusted when they get sent back, so it doesn't look like my formula's
Well,
still
we know
there.
with the contract we have within the costs are up for personnel, right?
Yeah. And they had, their unions did the 1% and me too, so whatever the commissioners decide for raises, they'll get, so. He did put the increases in his roadside, but I'll check on the jail side.
Well, I'm gonna assume that number with the sheriff is the correct number, it's just in the wrong line. So, having said that, order, you to make the changes that are necessary there. Any more thoughts as to whether we ought to move forward with this at this point?
Yeah, I would motion that we pass the budget, and if the clarification comes back significantly different, we'll ask Stacy to bring it back.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Cuevas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yeah, and, just a word for Stacy Walsh, she did a great job with us, got everything put together, and we've gotten the information all along as it's been compilated. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for the hard work.
Appreciate your leadership.
A month
on that.
earlier.
And as I say, in the cooperation of the departments do this a month ahead
Right.
when we've done it in the past.
Yeah,
Non-general funds,
yes.
any questions, comments on any of those? That one I did not print out.
Yeah, I didn't have any Any further thoughts on that?
I didn't see any huge changes in anybody's budget. In
The
non-general.
capital amounts were the only thing, the
Right.
1215 account. That,
Well, yeah, the only thing that I want to go over one more time is to make certain that everybody understands, that we all understand, that I understand, some of these capital improvements, what we have actually accrued for already, and what would be a new item. I mean, for example, I think one of the biggest ones is the Board of Elections, right?
Right,
So, there's a number out there of 820. But we know that we've got a reimbursement coming from the state in the 600 range. And we're not sure if 820 is right. We think that's gonna be less than that. So we do have some excess money in that line that could be moved to do some of the other capital
Right.
improvements that we're talking about here.
right now I've got, with all of the, if everything we've got appropriated gets spent, we've got, 259,000, available in the 215. But like I said, I have the 500,000 set aside for the equipment right now, and then in the new budget, the 820, because that's the quote I had. And, so we have some left over in some of these other lines. But right now, if everything was paid out, we'd have 259 sitting in there, and we've got about,
taking out the 820.
yes,
Well, some of the requests are kind of overwhelming. That's why I want to make
Yeah.
certain that we understand that there has been some money accrued for certain things that we'll be able to use that will not affect, certainly the income of the county. It will be from previous years that we carried over and designated as those improvements.
and the only revenue that's dedicated to 215 for our capital improvement line is our leases, and that's around $100,000 a year, so.
I went to the Board of Elections meeting last night, and I think they're going to try to make that decision on December 3rd to recommend to us the equipment purchase.
Did they kick around a number?
They've got a quote, but it's working its way through administrative services.
Because I thought it was so significant. We're showing 820. I thought that it was significantly less than that.
Yeah, they've got the quote, but it's working its way back through administrative services. So they would, invited us to that meeting so that if we wanted to be there for that kind of decision. That's the good news. The bad news is that the equipment they're looking at comes with a $60,000 a year maintenance fee. So, we're gonna see a 15% increase in their budget next year. There are gonna be some give backs, but you know how that goes, less ballots, whatever. But, so when we do budgets next year, it's gonna be 15% more for Board of Elections. So the state's covering the capital cost, but not the operating costs.
Yeah.
I think we call that an unfunded mandate.
Okay, well, that's another letter to the editor, right? Talk about the state unfunded mandates. Okay, bonding, we're back up to the agenda.
Do you, the non-general fund budgets, can we approve those minus the capital improvements?
You need those approved formally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So moved?
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Thank you. Bonding, we had not Clement Nelson, Squire Sanders contact us. There's an entity in Seneca County that is looking to do some conduit bonding, and they had got a hold of us. We've done this in years past, not charged a fee other than the entity covering costs of all the attorney fees and whatever's accumulated. So they were asking if the county would be willing and able to do that. I think they've been working with Nikki to schedule a time to actually come in and talk to you guys about it, but I at least wanted to,
So the Community
about it.
Improvement Corporation has to act first, and then they would recommend to us?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So my position is that, with our community partners, that we would provide that conduit financing for them and waive the fee as our participation in the community. So I'm comfortable with that if the other two people are.
Doesn't affect our borrowing
Does
ability
not.
in any sense.
No, it makes sense, and like I said, we have done these in the past, and I don't know what the, there's a value to that fee being waived, and I think that's important that people understand, so I respect you asking for that, I forget what it was, but I know we received it,
Yeah.
what the dollar figure was, but yeah, it just makes good sense to help them out with that.
You need action?
Nope, nope, they're gonna come in the end of the month, I think, and present it, so. Hopefully. Beginning of next month,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay, is there something with Heidelberg too that we're participating in?
That's,
That is this one.
That is
That is
the
the
same
Heidelberg.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, AEZ.
So I guess I would make a motion that my resolution tabled from last week come off the table.
Okay,
Second,
okay, roll call please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
yes,
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, so I think procedurally, was there a motion made to approve?
Yeah, it was motioned and seconded and then tabled.
Okay, so is there some additional discussion on that? motion?
yes. I mean, I know I've got some comments that I've had a chance to, I
Okay.
didn't prior to, hearing it last week, to look at. Three main things that come to mind for me is that the AZ is for all energy projects. And putting a sunset on it takes out that for everything. The other part is that on a statewide basis, the alternative energy zone language, as we will, has its own expiration date and would have to be renewed by the state of Ohio in 2021. So I'd like to note that before we would want to slam the door on all energy projects in Seneca County, if we think there's some significant issues with it, it's time to start lobbying with Representative Reineke, Senator Burke, their predecessors after their terms are done, whatever, before 2021, and see where you get. I'm guessing that would be the opportunity for that before things are renewed. And I would think from the previous 5-year renewal that took place, there's probably a lot more things factored in now, and a lot more activity in other counties besides just ours. But we really weren't an active part of that 5 years ago. Yes, things were being developed here, but we didn't have, it was just low-keyed. And then just the fact as an economic development aspect for Seneca County when this was put in place and voted on by the board here at that time in 2011, it was looked at strongly as a way of protecting our county and an economic development tool. And it was in place. We were on the radar for energy companies, as I think probably even beyond the current wind projects, there's probably solar looking at us, from what I understand, that I feel like it's a bait and switch. So I'm not in support of it.
Not in support of,
Of the whole resolution because of the key part of it to me. I mean, I think there's issues with calling out Seneca Wind in it, and I guess I don't understand that part. But the of having the last two sentences, of putting a sunset on it.
okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just put together something that I thought that would probably strike the middle balance between the three of us, so we'd have a statement of policy and give all the energy companies advance notice of when it would sunset, staying out of the intervention to allow the townships to have prosecutor representation in the intervention process, but not withdrawing our support from the Seneca Wind project. So, that was the balance I was trying to strike, and hopefully something that we could all get behind.
I think without intervening, and I don't care, we could intervene neutrally, if that's the desire, whatever the majority of this board would want to do on both projects, and we have already committed to intervening, and I don't think we said for or against, we said neutral. Republic Wind.
Right.
It was neutral. I think that's part of our jobs. We need to intervene. I would be all for waivers being signed all across the board and letting Derek represent both parties, or all parties, that he's obligated to represent with a signed waiver too.
Well,
But like I said, I don't,
so the discussion with the attorneys in Columbus would suggest to me that we were guiding them to intervene positively on behalf of the energy company.
no, well, that was, I don't know how like I said, I'm just not sure how the wording of the thing was, but as we went forward then, yes, because that was where the majority of the board was in favor of continuing.
I mean, you're suggesting that if we intervene neutrally. I thought that the conversation, the reason that we hired counsel was to intervene on behalf of the projects.
Like I said, I don't know what the wording and the language of, I was speaking to the resolution. I don't know if we said, we got it here because you provided it to us, because you had presented that as something you were bringing up today, but I don't remember how it was worded in here, but yes,
Okay.
we moved forward because the majority of this board was for the project,
No, no,
so
no.
we went with attorneys for doing that, yes.
No, I
That would be
understand, but-
correct, so maybe I misspoke there, but
I
when
think the intervention was neutral. I mean, I don't think we had a policy statement. It was just, we are gonna participate in the process. Now, you can infer from that with the.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah, I mean,
the conversation that we had with them on the phone when we were in session was very clear that we were asking them to intervene on behalf of the wind project.
Yeah, we haven't made a policy decision on that, though, that's the point. The intervention is neutral, just to be a party. Oh, and Republican,
I guess-
that's a separate
I
subject.
really guess this is semantics here.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
either intervening on behalf of or intervening against. I don't think you intervene neutrally.
you can,
No, I
yes,
disagree.
you can.
Yeah, I disagree.
I mean, there's a township that's doing that. I mean, we could
So
intervene and say,
what would possibly be the purpose to intervene neutrally?
If there's this stipulation at the end, you're a party, you continue to be notified. If something changes during the course of the hearing that you want to opine on, you're a party. So there is a lot of.
So in your opinion,
Justification
when
for
we
that.
hired the counsel from Columbus, our instruction to him was to intervene neutrally?
Yes.
protect our interest, and not to be
So the conversation with the attorney did not suggest that we want to intervene on behalf of the projects. Is that what we're saying here?
Well, I think that the decision that we made was to intervene. We haven't made a decision on policy. We certainly had conversation here that were favorable towards the projects going forward. So, I mean, I don't think you're making, an irrational inference on that. But the policy that we've made is that we would intervene. And of course, now we're talking about Republic Wind, that's not cool.
Yeah, I'd have to rerun that tape, but I'm almost certain the conversation with the council was to intervene on behalf of the projects. I don't have a photographic memory, but I'm pretty sure that was the conversation. Okay, well, procedurally, as you folks know, I had sent some proposed resolutions out. I have a sense how they're gonna go here, but at least like to have them presented.
Do you need to vote on the one
Yeah,
on
I'm
the table
sorry,
right
yeah,
now?
okay, so we need to vote on the motion that's on the floor, so take roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
no.
Commissioner Kirschner?
No. Okay, so I had sent in advance, the staff prepared some, we read some resolutions. We had stated that in order to do this thing procedurally, at least from the sense that I got, that the door was kind of cracked regarding the AEZ and the potential to rescind that. That from a procedural standpoint, we'd have to do the most current, and then go back to the date October 18th, 2011 to rescind the AEZ if we so desired. So if you'll read maybe the most current motion that we made regarding intervening on behalf of, at least my sense was intervening on behalf
The most
of.
current would have been the September 4th resolution, was intent to intervene before the Ohio Power Siting Board for the Republic Wind Project in Seneca County.
Okay.
That's the newest resolution, September 4th.
Okay, and that doesn't state whether it's to intervene positively or negatively, it just says to intervene.
It just says the county commissioners has intent to intervene for the Ohio Power Siting Board for a matter regarding Republic Link projects.
Okay.
Doesn't say for or against.
And part of Commissioner Thomas's resolution was to not intervene in the S-Power project, as I recall it.
Correct. There was no intervention.
Okay, so my sense was that possibly we would not be intervening in either of the projects so that we would then have to withdraw our intervention on behalf of Republic Wind. I guess, taking this one step further, if we were intervening neutrally, then why would there be a problem with the conflict with the prosecutor?
I think initially at the time of the Republic one, I think we all got shown that waiver to sign. I think there was just a lot of confusion.
Right.
There was a reason for the attempt of a good faith effort in a collaborative meeting with hearing from the public first and then having some open discussion, but minds were made up and didn't allow that process to completely unfold as it should have that night, in my opinion. But we didn't have that in the first process, so we wanted to be able to, again, intervene. Our window of opportunity, we got a little more flexibility than the township elected officials had. They had 30 days. We had, we've got, from my understanding with Power Siting Board, a little more time to figure that out. It wasn't as strict for us, but it's countywide project. I will reiterate that I think it's important that we intervene, even if it's nothing else, just to say we're fully aware of these projects and want to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted as they go through the process.
Okay, so, all right, so then we would
I
need,
just reply to your question. We don't really have a motion on the table, but, kind of clear that issue on prosecutor representation. My issue has been attorney-client privilege and having to waive that. Derek has made the determination that everybody needs to sign. So that's my issue. The other issue is that the playbook here is to tie this up in litigation to stall out the project. And I don't really want to expose the general fund to what's happened in Champaign County, which is the expense of $1 million of money to stall out the project on procedural issues. So I think there's a couple issues there, and I've talked to Derek about if there's some way that if the townships want to run their own legal strategy, if there's some way to back bill them for the amount and not expose the general fund to that. But he indicated that he doesn't have any method of doing an hourly billing or billing separately. So there's a couple issues there that allow me to not support that, since he's given me that opportunity. And we don't know what would happen in Seneca Wind with that set of township trustees. That's a whole, the verbs and the tarps. So it's different trustees. So we don't know if they would sign or not.
okay, so your position is, just to make it clear, that you will not sign the conflict waiver?
Not without guarantees of my attorney-client privilege and without some kind of financial controls on the prosecutor.
Okay. So, the resolution that's offered, if you'll read that for me, please.
The one,
The latest one, the one to not, the last thing we voted for was to intervene, I guess, neutrally, for Republic Wind, and I thought the sense was that we weren't going to intervene on any project, so that's why we wrote that up.
okay, the one rescinding the board's orders of September 4th. Resolution 18-316, the intent to intervene before the Ohio Power Siting Board for the Republic Wind project. Is that
Yes,
the one?
yes. If you would read that, please.
I thought I just did.
Okay. So, but what is the motion within the resolution? To
To rescind the board's orders, to intervene before the Ohio Power Siting Board for matter regarding Republic Wind. There's reference here to the council of record taking all necessary actions to withdraw the petition to intervene in the Republic Wind filed on September 10th, and that would be, I think, referring to the second resolution you asked was the rescinding council.
All right, so there is no support for withdrawing our intervention, so we might as well leave that where it's at now. The final resolution, the purpose of this was to unwind it if it was possible. And that would have been to take the newest date, which was the intervention in the Republic Wind, and then hiring counsel and to revoke that and to pay them their due up to date. To Commissioner Thomas's point, to try, at least from my standpoint, to try to reduce as much as possible the potential cost to the county. As we talked about on previous occasions, that could be upwards of $100,000 according to their own estimates. And then finally to rescind as of January 1st, 2019, the orders of October 18th, 2011, when the previous Board of Commissioners approved the alternative energy zone. So that was kind of the unwinding it from my standpoint, but again, I guess it's a moot point because there's no support, so that's why we have on the agenda today. Okay.
Well, I guess, so are you done with what you have to offer, Mike? as far
Yes,
as
I am.
Alternatives? I guess what I would like to propose then is a separate resolution that the commissioners intervene in the Seneca Wind project and instruct the prosecutor to file on our behalf. So, I think on October 17th, we received the notice to intervene, the window. On the 22nd, we set a town hall. We did that town hall on November 7th. 13th, November 13th, we scheduled a regular meeting and had, at least a resolution regarding intervention or non-intervention that got tabled. And so here we are on the 20th. One of the concerns I have is that we're outside of that window, but I think that the Ohio Power Siting Board, given that we had a process of due diligence, would look favorably on our effort to try and reach a consensus. So I guess my alternative resolution would be to ask the prosecutor to intervene on our behalf as the county commissioners. So I'd like to put that
Ask the
forward.
prosecutor?
Yeah. They can do, as opposed to expending the money to have we can always substitute legal later if we decide to.
So that with the waiver signed, and
Well,
can you do it without the waiver signed?
yeah, he can do it without the waiver signed. What he said at the town hall was that he could file for the townships because that's simply a document shuffle. But then as it advances into the process, then everybody's going to have legal counsel unless we can resolve the prosecutor issue. Which, I'm open to having that conversation. I just have those two concerns. So
So yours is a motion,
that's a motion.
I will second.
Any additional discussion?
Again, I'm just gonna reiterate again, I think, even if it's a neutral level, I think we have a responsibility as Board of Commissioners to be at the table, and from what I was asking around from others, I don't know that there's been any intervention processes where the county hasn't chosen to intervene. Not gonna stand, I have checked them all off the list, but that's my understanding, and I think that's our responsibility.
Can I just clarify that not adding the words in support of, but
Correct.
just intervening the same wording as we kind of did the last time?
Correct.
Thank you.
That's the motion.
Okay, well, as part of the discussion, I will go on record saying I think this is absolutely the wrong direction to head. I think that we are not representing our constituents. I believe that the majority of the citizens feel that this is a project that they do not want in Seneca County, and that we are being obstacles to the will of the people. Any other additional discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
No. Okay, new
And
business.
where we began.
New business, EV charging station.
Yeah, I just wanted to put this on people's radar screen. We have the opportunity to apply for some grant funds, and Charlene, who's you know, a dog that never loses her trail, she she stayed on this, and we have the opportunity to apply for some grant funds, fully 100% grant funded electronic vehicle charging stations. And so after the first of the year, that could percolate to the surface. I just wanted to get it on everyone's radar screen. It would be on county property somewhere. It would be cost neutral to the county, and 100% of the cost would be reimbursed. So I just want to get that on the radar screen. CD&D funds, as Stacy mentioned in the capital budget hearing, we do have $50,000 carried over from 2018. We may or may not have funds in 2019. And
Solid waste funds, not CD&D funds.
well, yeah, that's right, actually. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're actually right. It's solid waste. It comes back from solid waste district.
We get another 50,000 through the CD&D separately, through the health department.
That's right, but you're
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
It's just solid, that's right. And we talked about maybe carpet and some other things, but I wanted to throw out there that we have long talked about paving the access drive to the indigent cemetery. And that would be an appropriate use of those funds, because we would have recycled content. And I know Tom's been in favor of it, and Fred was in favor of it at one point. It's also part of the active transportation plan. It would take in part of what we would propose as a bike trail. So I know currently a lot of our staff out there walk that lane for as an exercise place. So just a thought, and I'd like at least the grace to get it engineered and get an estimate to see how far that 50,000 will go, because we have to use it by June 30th. I'm sure we can find other things to use it for, but this is one of the things I'd like to put into the mix. If
This is the 50,000 carryover that we had from 18 and potentially 50,000 for 19.
Yes.
grant money that has recycled content strings attached to it. Solid waste funds from solid waste district, not CD&D. The CD&D funds don't come with any strings, right? They've never-
We apply the same, as solid waste, just to, because that's kind of what the intent is.
Gotcha.
So we follow the state
Okay.
guidelines.
I mean, I guess I'd like to see the numbers if it would be enough, or if there'd be something for anything else, or if, unless there's some other emergency or something comes up that is, we need, I guess if that lends itself to helping older multiple plans and things. Otherwise, it was just for paving it alone, I would say, I'm not sure, but if it's going to increase the use of that because of active transportation and other things, that brings on a whole new meaning. But, I mean, I think that adds a level of, it doesn't seem like you're just,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree,
Okay, so the question is, if we can get an estimate to pave that, and so that it ties into the active transportation route,
Yeah.
I guess we can do that.
You get the estimate.
Numbers,
And I
but-
can ask Mark if he would be
That
willing
would be
to do
great.
that.
That would be great. And we'll see it, I mean, we'll have this conversation again. I just wanted to socialize the idea and make sure that it was all right to do some planning around that.
Okay, solid waste district is separate.
Yeah,
separate,
so I wanted to talk to y'all about the budget issues up there. because, as you know, we are members of a 3-county solid waste district. It's Ottawa, Sandusky, and Seneca, and the 9 commissioners from the 3 counties combined govern that district. And the primary source of revenue for that district is the landfill in Seneca County, specifically Loudon, Fostoria. And so due to the way the funding or the material comes in there and it's been classified, there's been a decrease in the level of revenue generated from the landfill at Sunny Farms. And that doesn't seem to be going to turn around anytime soon. Also, there are some significant issues in China as it relates to recycled material and the purity of the material that's needs to be brought in. So it's getting very expensive to recycle material. So the operating cost of the solid waste district has gone up dramatically. And that's all of the aim to be green sites in the townships where the recyclables go, issues around household waste, all those costs have gone up. So the good news is that there's a significant carryover in the solid waste district, $2.5, $3 million. The bad news is they're eating into that at a rate of about $700,000 a year. So it's not sustainable. And apparently my fellow commissioners nominated me to be on the budget committee because I had to have to be the bearer of this bad news. There's a couple solutions. Obviously, cutting expenses, which is services to the community, is one. There's some transfer payments to cities and villages, transfer payments to the county. There's multiple locations in every county for Aim to Be Green. So all those things could be looked at. And the ever popular grant funds that we do for nonprofits with recycled content. The other alternative is to increase revenue. 2 primary ways to do that. One is to increase the fees at Sunny Farms, which wouldn't seem like it would offend anybody but them, but it's increasing taxes. Or putting on a per improved parcel fee, a tax, for the 24,000 parcels in Seneca County, the 24,000 parcels in Sandusky County, and the 28,000 parcels in Ottawa County. Unfortunately, in my opinion, that 9-member board will make that decision, and it's my position. What my cards on the table is that I wouldn't be in favor of increasing the revenue there at all through a parcel tax or through increased tax on the landfill. So I think if we can go in there with a unified front, I think I have a pretty good read of this board, but I wanted to have the discussion here because at the end of the month we're going to start having that discussion at the solid waste district, and at the very least I would like to see us have a unified position going into talk with our fellow commissioners.
I guess I would have to wonder, I don't know if they shared with the budget committee or not, that the other solid waste districts got to be having similar problems, other than they wouldn't have the ongoing issue with Sunny Farms. I mean, they may have something similar or not, but they have to have the same issue with the cost, the operating cost of the recycling content.
Yeah.
And what those contracts are costing the district, so whether they're taking the flat screen TVs, the electrical stuff, or the hazardous materials, or whichever are costing so much money. And I know the Aim to Be Green program, the new contract, was not doubled, but it was
pretty
significantly jumped up. And boy, to see a program like that go away is going to be a negative impact on the county, on all the townships, because people are used to that.
It's very popular. Yeah.
Very popular. It's a good thing. It keeps that trash out of ditches and roadways and backyards and everywhere else. However, I'm not in favor that we we support a tax, by forcing that gets decided. And I guess it's concerning, I guess we haven't had this issue come up. That's why I did ask, you said there was budget stuff, and I knew the meeting's coming up. I sent the chapter on solid waste districts to
Yeah,
all of
thank
us.
you.
I haven't dove into that, there's several pages to it. But obviously, it's obviously within their realm to be able to do that. It's first it's come up in my 6 years, so.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely be opposed to any additional tax to anyone, before severe cuts were taken in the budget, or fewer services were offered, or an attempt was made to increase the fees to Sunny Farm. Makes no sense to add anything to the tax base for this, so hopefully they can figure out a way. It doesn't appear to me through the board meetings that I've attended there's been any attempt at all to modify the expenses on the budget. I think that needs to be the first step.
Mr. President, would you like to put together a resolution to that effect, so that we have a unified statement on this, or do you want to see how it plays out at the board meeting?
Yeah. I suppose if we just have a sense of where we're at this point in time, that, we can hopefully stick with that there. I don't know. Well, let's just go with this, the 28th, right, next
Next Wednesday.
All right. I think that, if our minutes can show that we have a real concern about any increase in taxes, and express that when we get there.
Should we do further research into our legal options as it regards to our legal standing in the solid waste district and get a legal opinion what our options are?
You mean if it doesn't go our way, that we can withdraw?
Yeah.
I guess it's
All of our legal options, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know what they all are. I mean, I have some sense, I've looked at the code, but I don't have a legal opinion.
No, it wouldn't hurt. I mean,
Because we have the
Knowledge
real
is-
possibility that 6 other commissioners are gonna raise taxes on our constituents.
yeah, knowledge is power, and I guess if we know alternatives,
Yeah.
if that's where it goes,
That's the
then
point.
we'd be able to at least do something to mitigate our position by saying that, we withdraw, or whatever it is we have to do at that point. So, yeah, if we can contact Derek and get an opinion as to our options if it goes the direction that we're not comfortable with. Okay, anything else on that?
No.
Downtown plan MOU, we kind of got touched on that today.
Yeah, and I just, as we were talking about the capital plan, I just wanted to bring that back up. For those who don't know, we have a memorandum of understanding from the previous board that we would look at East Tower as a county office building, and we would entertain assisting in the improvement of Court Street as a more pedestrian-friendly boulevard. And I just was checking on the status of that, because that impacts how we spend some of our capital money.
I think part of the MOU was too, if we decided to get rid of the RTA building, it would be sold to the city. I mean, that is nothing is certain, but that was part of that whole
Okay.
MOU.
Yeah.
Okay, as a result of that, we did discuss earlier today about getting together with the Buildings and Grounds Committee for the city and having that discussion, and we will do that. Anything else under new business? Okay, let's do the supplemental appropriations and adjustments.
All right, I have a resolution approving all supplemental appropriations, and appropriation adjustments submitted through the VIP system for the board session on November 20th, 2018. I actually have 3 that was submitted, but one needs to be sent back. It needs to, she's requesting $114 into her, the JMHC, and of course they didn't give me the acronyms. She didn't request enough in the grant, so she's $114 short. So what she needs from us is an advance, then the supplemental appropriation, but I haven't got the advance request yet. So that one I'll be pulling back off, denying sending back to her for correction. The other two, I have a supplemental appropriation for $150. This is from the auditor's office to our flex spend admin fee line. And then I have a $1,000 request. This is from the sheriff's office, one of his grant funds, the Ohio Peace Officer Training Fund, for $1,000 into training. And I have, I think I need to just reword this a little bit. I have an advance repayment from the CBCF fund, the Crossway Fund, to the general fund, putting repaying $57,571 to the general fund. I have a resolution authorizing an amendment with Patchworks House, contract on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Human Services, retroactive to November 13th. I have a resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with Crawford County Board of County Commissioners for the receipt, custody, and care of Crawford County juveniles on behalf of Seneca County Youth Center for 2019. Resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with Huron County Board of County Commissioners for the receipt, custody, and care of Huron County juveniles on behalf of Seneca County Youth Center for 2019. And also the same resolution for Wyandotte County for 2019. I have a resolution, the approval of critical infrastructure projects for the Village of Republic and the City of Fostoria. The amounts for the CDBG FY 2018 Community Development Set Aside. I can let Charlene explain.
Village of Republic would like to reapply for the water meter projects for their failing water meters. And the City of Fostoria has a portion of North Union Street that they are applying for as well.
And I have a resolution, approval of the critical infrastructure projects for the City of Fostoria's General Administration Fair Housing and amounts for the CDBG fiscal year 2018 Community Development Set Aside. Looks like it's for $30,000. And a resolution, the approval of use of the program income funds from Fund 3094 as the required 10% match for the critical infrastructure projects for the Village of Republic, and the amount for CDBG 2018 Community Development Set Aside, the amount $28,285. The 3094 is the revolving loan.
Economic Development Revolving Loan. And the Village of Republic should be committing $5,000 towards the project themselves as well.
And those are all I have.
Okay, it's your pleasure, folks.
Move to accept all presented?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner?
Yes. Okay, time has come for public comment. I don't have anything to say today. Yes, Greg.
Greg Smith, Bloom Township. I wasn't going to attend today's meeting since I didn't think it would be worth my time. But then I read Commissioner Stacy's letter to the editor in today's Advertiser Tribune, and I changed my mind. Commissioner Stacy, in your letter you referred to, quote, facts have been misconstrued, and, quote, not sharing real facts, or, quote, not stopping misinformation. I take personal offense to your comments since I have been the primary presenter at the Seneca Anna informational meeting, which I might add that you have yet to attend. And I feel I do my best to be truthful and to only present the facts. Let's review the facts. Fact number one, the turbines being proposed are 652 foot tall, only 18 inches shorter than the tallest turbines in the United States that are located in Randall County, Texas, where you can't see a home anywhere close to the turbines. Now Emerson Creek plans to use even taller turbines. Fact number two, the turbines will generate shadow flicker. Fact number three, the turbines will generate noise. Fact number four, the turbines will kill bats, eagles, and other migratory birds. Fact number five, the turbines will ruin our rural landscapes. Fact number 6, the turbines will reduce our property values. Fact number 7, at night the turbines will be lit with red flashing lights. Fact number 8, 26 of the proposed Seneca wind turbine sites are not legal per the current setback laws, including one that is 740 feet from my property line. Fact number 9, 16 turbines are proposed to be within a 2-mile radius of Seneca East School. Fact number 10, the Seneca East School Board has chosen to intervene with the siting board. Fact number 11, there will be unintended consequences where the people bearing the brunt of the wind turbines won't support future tax levies. Fact number 12, Commissioner Thomas testified to a Senate committee to reduce the setbacks which would move the turbines closer to homes. Fact number 13, a pro-wind lobbying group wrote and submitted a testimonial letter in your name without your approval to the Energy and Natural Resources Senate Committee. Fact number 14, Seneca County has a population density of 100 people per square mile, while S-Power's other 2 wind projects in Utah and Wyoming have less than 3 people per square mile. Fact number 15, the commissioners had the opportunity to stop the approval of the pilot for both the Republic Wind and the Seneca Wind projects, but yet chose to do nothing. Fact number 16, the pilot funding is based on 2011 dollars and does not adjust for inflation over the life of the project. Fact number 17, 8 out of the townships in the 2 project footprints have voted to intervene against the project with the Ohio Power Siting Board. Fact number 18, per the Ohio EPA, the specific area where the Republic Wind and Seneca Wind projects are both located is designated as a, quote, drinking water source protection area with a high susceptibility to contamination and water quality impacts. Fact number 19, wind power is highly subsidized with taxpayer money and inefficient in production of energy. Fact number 20, there are an average of 38 blade failures every year. We will have blade failures in Seneca County. Fact number 21, for turbines greater than 5 megawatt, state law overrides any local zoning. Fact number 22, you have not rescinded the AZ, which allows additional projects to come into the county without any local control. Commissioner Stacy, you have chosen to ignore these facts as well as many others since you've been blinded by the money. You're turning your back on the majority of the citizens who have the least to gain and the most to lose. You should be ashamed of this, and this will go down as your legacy in the history of Seneca County. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Chris.
Chris Eichholz, Bloom Township. I can't really follow Greg's great speech there. Today I read a guest editorial in the Advertiser Tribune and was left highly upset and frustrated. Commissioner Stacy, you mentioned in your column that in the case of the wind development, the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. This couldn't be further from the truth, and you know that. People in this county have done their own research and due diligence with regard to the proposed industrial wind turbine projects, and they have decided that the negative impacts outweigh the benefits. Although it continually seems tough for you to understand that the majority's wishes, by ignoring credible resources that support your constituents' position against these projects, you are leaving a mark on your legacy that will never be forgotten. I have here Seneca Wind project map for sound levels that S-Power themselves submitted to the OPSB, Ohio Power Siting Board. This indicates that many non-participating landowners like my family will be subjected to unsafe levels of sound levels that will likely cause an increase for health risks for these families, elderly, and children. This is according to the World Health Organization's recent study. Last week, Seneca East Schools, as Greg mentioned, unanimously approved a resolution to intervene in the Seneca Wind project because of their concerns with the close proximity of 16 wind turbines within a 2-mile radius of the school. They also addressed in their paperwork that they filed, they have real concerns of reduced property values, which we've been talking about since day one. Now is the time for you to wake up and help put an end to this nonsense. Thank you.
Gail Miller, Venice Township, and I direct my comments to you, Commissioner Thomas. It would seem, sir, that in the motion that you entered last week in regard to rescinding the AEZ, it was a step in the right direction, while today it was voted down. However, last week's motion didn't go far enough. Apex Republic Wind and S-Power Seneca Wind projects are already approved through the AEZ and for the pilot. Though they may be still going through the process, they have not received approval by the OPSB for construction. They would not be affected by rescinding the AEZ, even if it were rescinded today. One of the officials of one of the wind power companies has made the statement that their company would proceed with their plans for wind projects whether the AEZ was in place or not. As residents of Seneca County, we don't want any turbines here. If the Power Board overrules our voices, then as our county commissioner, at least represent our interests and rescind the AEZ. Make the wind power companies pay taxes. Give the county more money and more of a voice in the process. Resubmit your motion, but amend it. Rescind the AEZ today, or at the very latest, January 1st, 2019. Thank you.
One point of information, and I don't know if anybody from Apex is here, Roger's here. The Emerson Creek did have their first public meeting, and it appears that there's 3 turbines scheduled for Seneca County if the map holds. So just as
In
more facts.
Reed Township is where they're at.
Yes, ma'am.
Pam Weller, Superior Township. I'm just curious if any of you have ever been to where some of these existing wind farms are with the 600-foot wind farms, or turbines?
I've not been to where they're 600 feet.
I'm sure they were not the 600-foot
Yeah.
ones I saw in Paulding.
Yeah.
The highest you've been to? Just curious.
Whatever Paulding County has.
Yeah.
So you
Up in
have to
Ontario,
higher.
Canada, I think they're 450 to 550 or something like that. I looked it up at one point, I forget it now.
Okay, just curious,
Yeah.
because as I've been traveling, I have
Pam gets
posted and
around.
shared the bigger ones. And like Greg said, other than, ecological, it is a population issue. We have more population than where these wind turbine farms are, especially in Texas and Utah. In Utah, it's less than 3, I think, per square mile. So that's,
Yeah, to the point that was made, someone said one of the turbine companies said that they would build, they probably build whether it was an AEZ or not. We had a meeting with Senator Dolan, and I asked the question if there are any projects in Ohio in non-AEZ counties, and he wasn't aware of any. And I'm not going to say that's absolute truth, but he didn't believe there was any turbine projects in any county that was not designated as an AEC. So I highly doubt whether or not there would be any activity if the AEZ didn't exist in Seneca County. Okay. We are